Welcome to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the #1 podcast and resource for Black entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. If you're currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, you're invited to join us each and every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family and get ready to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 392. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today's show topic is the Simple E-Commerce Blueprint Decoded. The Simple E-Commerce Blueprint Decoded: make money in 7 days without creating a product. Now, on today's show, guys, we're going to break down e-commerce to the bare essentials. Now, when I talk to the BEB family members, a lot of them express that they have issues or problems with e-commerce because there's so many roadblocks. One of the biggest roadblocks is the tech stack. So if you don't know how to use the tech stack, you're not going to be able to move forward with your e-commerce business unless somebody does it for you. There's a plethora of things that actually get in the way and are roadblocks to building an e-commerce business. So, for example, the hassle of making or creating a product. You have branding, you have list building, and all the other time-consuming activities that goes along with building a super e-commerce brand, a super profitable e-commerce brand. And on today's show, I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to break down e-commerce to its simplest and barest form. And we're going to take away and solve all of the problems that most people have. But before we get to today's show, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family, and please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and my resource links, such as the link to my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. 2 platforms I've created to help circulate dollars in the worldwide Black economy: BeSmartByBlack.com and HireBlackFreelancers.com. Also, my new rebranded, rebooted BEB Academy. Make sure you check out BEBacademy.com, and it is an online education portal that has all types of resources such as online courses, masterclasses, tutorials, PDF downloads to help elevate your entrepreneur IQ. So it doesn't matter if you're a prospective entrepreneur or a current entrepreneur. We have learning tracks for everybody. So we have learning tracks about how to start your business, how to form an LLC, what type of corporation or legal entity should you form. We have a marketing track. We have an e-commerce track. We have a finance track. So we have all different tracks there to help you move your business from point A to point B. So make sure you go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Once again, guys, we have the new rebranded website, logo, music, everything. So blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, the objective for that website is to be the, capital THE, the resource for all Black entrepreneurs. So if you actually go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com or BEB Connect, which will take you there, it's a super website. I had my man Milan Smith from Broken Chain Marketing on about 2 weeks ago, and we just went through the total rebrand. So you can go to the About page, learn about BEB and myself and about the start of Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, why everything started. You can hit the Learn tab, which is a drop down, and you'll have your blog. You'll also have marketing, e-commerce, scaling your business, courses, strategy and mindset, real estate, business ideas and side hustles, and building wealth. So each one of those drop downs, they're resources, they're podcasts, they're PDFs, they're online courses, anything within those verticals you can go and learn. You hit the podcast drop down. You got 2 podcasts, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and my companion podcast, Ask Jay Live. that comes out live every Tuesday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific at AskJLive.com. You have all your resources. We have partners, get exposure, tools, advertise. You can book Jay. That drop down has me speaking, media requests, and coaching. And we also have a finance tab that has a drop down. So if you're looking for loans or crowdfunding, we can help you there. And the last drop down is the shop tab, which you can shop for my books, my merch, and all that good stuff. So make sure you go to blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com. Everything I talk about, all of the BEB ecosystem is on the website. So make sure you utilize it and leverage that to help elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Also, before I jump into today's content, I want to share information about a new masterclass that I've created that actually coincides with this episode. And if you go to simpleecommerceblueprint.com, simpleecommerceblueprint.com. So if you want a step-by-step instructions and templates, enroll in Simple E-Commerce Blueprint Masterclass. And once again, you can go to simpleecommerceblueprint.com. This is a turnkey solution to making money online, and it's a limited enrollment. So go ahead and check it out and learn more at simpleecommerceblueprint.com. And what that actually does, that masterclass, it solves all your problems. So you don't have to worry about building a list to make money in e-commerce. You don't have to worry about building your brand. You don't have to deal with a crazy tech stack that most people can't get through to start making money. So what it is, it's a fast start way, and it's a bare bones way to start making money in e-commerce part-time or full-time. And then what the objective is to teach you how to make money with a minimum viable e-commerce business. And then as you continue to learn, you'll start to build your business and use and leverage some of the technology and some of the other tools that we all use to build successful e-commerce businesses. But what this does is it's a bare bones minimal. So the biggest issue, and I'll tell you how today's show topic came up. I know a lot of people out there listening want to get into e-commerce and they just don't have the formula, or they run into these roadblocks that I just mentioned. So the impetus for today's show was actually comes from a conversation that I had with my oldest daughter as she was looking to create an additional income stream. So she currently works in corporate America for a large company in the marketing area, and she's doing very well, but she's feeling overworked, and she's looking to build up her assets and cash reserves by selling something online without having to do a whole lot of work. Like, she doesn't want to be the face of the product. She doesn't want to build a list. She doesn't want to get into branding and all the other time-consuming activities, once again, usually associated with selling online. So she wants to make money without having to do all of that because she doesn't have the time really to allot to that. And so she asked me, she said, what should she do to accomplish this? And on today's show, I'm actually going to break down what I told her, and I'm going to give you all the components you need to make this happen. So we had a long conversation. She's like, Dad, I'm not trying to, build a brand like Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. I'm not trying to be the face of the brand. I want to sell something online where I can make additional income and where I'm not going to have to do all of the stuff that you normally do when you build brands. So what we're going to talk about today is, first of all, the what and the why. And then we're going to break down these components that a real successful e-commerce business has. So we're going to start with the why first. And the question I want to ask you is, why do you want to do this? So every time you do something, there's always a why behind it. Sometimes the why is great enough to help you succeed. Other times the why isn't that important to you. So why do you want to do this? Do you want to create another income stream that can be a part-time or full-time income? You may want to just bring in a few $100s more each month and to be able to pay your car note or your auto insurance or something like that. So you may want to be able to create an income that can replace your full-time job. And all of these things are realistic if you know how to set up and move through this e-commerce system. So that's the why. You have to ask yourself, what is your why? Okay, why do you want to get into e-commerce? Okay, the next question is what? What are you doing? And really, you're actually building a revenue producing asset that, if done correctly, will passively spin off cash to you on a daily basis. I'm going to repeat that. What are you doing? If you do it correctly, you're actually building a revenue producing asset that, if done correctly, will passively spin off cash to you on a daily basis. Now, on a previous episode titled The Freedom Equation, I talked about this equation. So the freedom equation is cash flow plus passive income equals freedom. Cash flow plus passive income equals freedom. And if you create a successful e-commerce business, that can create daily cash flow and it can create passive income if it's set up correctly, which equals freedom. So what are you doing? You're actually building a revenue producing asset that, if done correctly, will passively spin off cash to you on a daily basis, thereby giving you freedom. So let's start talking about some of the benefits of building an e-commerce business. Now, remember, guys, we're talking about a stripped down, bare bones e-commerce business. We're not talking about a robust e-commerce business where you're building lists, your brand, creating a brand identity. You can do all of that, and eventually I hope you get to that point. But if you just want to make money in e-commerce, this is the episode for you. So here's some of the benefits of starting a simple e-commerce blueprint business. A simple e-commerce business, all right? There's a low barrier to entry. You don't need a whole lot of money to start this business, okay? I have coaching students that started their business with a couple $100 that are now making over $10,000 a month with their e-commerce business. You can make money very quickly. If you know what you're doing, you can make money very quickly. Also, you're building an asset. What people don't understand is this e-commerce business is an asset. Right now, there are people that have capital that are buying e-commerce businesses like crazy, anywhere from 32 times to 45 times your net profit. 32 to 45 times your net profit. So you're literally building an asset. And so, for example, if you do have a business and it's doing, say, $5,000 a month, right? That's what you net. You can actually sell that business for 32 to 45 times that $5,000. So let me check my math here real quick. So $5,000 times 32 times is $160,000. $5,000 times 45 times is, let me see, $5,000, I'm sorry, times 45, that's $225,000. So that $5,000 net profit that business can be sold for upwards of $225,000. Literally, it does not take you long to build an e-commerce business that nets you $5,000, especially if you know what you're doing. Okay, so we're talking right now about the benefits. We talked about low barrier to entry. You can make money quickly. You're building an asset, and that's what we're just talking about. You do not have to create a product with this system. So many times the biggest issue is creating a product or finding a product. So in the course, the simpleecommerceblueprint.com, I actually go through and show you where you can get products to sell. And I'm not talking about affiliate products. You can get products to sell that you actually own. You buy them one time and then you can resell them forever. Okay, at whatever price you want, and you keep all the profits. Okay, so you own the product. There's no inventory because we're talking about digital products. So the benefit of a digital product is, in terms of not having any inventory, you don't have to re-up in terms of buying inventory and the cost of inventory. So when you have a physical product, you're always restocking. So you may make $10,000, and that, out of that $10,000 profit, you may have to put $5,000 or $6,000 back in to actually get the product itself for the inventory. So selling a digital product also allows you to scale very easily. Once again, you create the product one time, or you buy the product one time, and that's it. And you can sell it in perpetuity. Okay, so they're very easy to scale. Now, just imagine I gave you the numbers on one site that nets $5,000. But if you create multiple sites, you can create an e-commerce portfolio and you can scale. So you got to crawl before you walk. You start one site, it's generating and netting $5,000 a month. You know the system now. You know what type of product that you need to buy and that you need to sell. And now you can create an e-commerce portfolio where you have multiple e-commerce businesses, multiple products, and now you're just scaling that business. Okay, another great benefit is you can find products on any topics. So if you're interested in weight loss or you're interested in fitness or something else, you can find products to buy that you can sell in those topic areas that you have an interest in. One of the worst things is if you're selling or you're in a business and you can't stand that topic or industry. Now, I may be a little bit different because I just enjoy the business of doing business. Doesn't really matter to me what industry or product or service that I'm selling. So, there's certain components of that we're going to get into in the next section. Also, one of the other benefits, guys, is you can be anonymous and make money without other people knowing. So say, for example, that you work in corporate America. Okay, you don't want your boss or your job or your coworkers to know that you have a side hustle that's making a couple of G's a month. So when you do this and you work this system, the simple e-commerce blueprint system, you can be anonymous. It's not like Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the podcast, where I'm the face of the podcast. I'm the face of the brand. I can't be anonymous if I wanted to, unfortunately. But if you set up your business correctly, you can be anonymous. You can have all types of different businesses selling to all types of different customers and consumers, and nobody would know. For example, with my flat iron brand, both of my flat iron brands. I'm a bald-headed black dude that never used a flat iron in his life. So I don't want to be the face of that brand. Okay, so I use the expertise of my women in my family, my wife, my daughters, my sister, my mom, my cousins. And so those are the people that they help me understand that market. But I'm totally anonymous with that. So that's another benefit. And so once again, last benefit I'm going to talk about is you can duplicate the process with any product once you learn the system. And once again, guys, the simple ecommerceblueprint.com. Make sure you check it out and enroll, because we strip down the whole process where we're taking away all of the negatives and all of the roadblocks to be successful. Okay, so like I said, guys, I've been coaching for 15, 20 years, obviously a serial entrepreneur for 20 plus years. And I'm telling you, when it comes to e-commerce, there are a lot of roadblocks that people have, and I just see them all the time. And one of the biggest ones is a tech stack. And so on the simple ecommerceblueprint.com, there's only 3 pieces of technology that you're going to need. And you're not going to use the full gamut of the power of the technology. You're going to use the bare minimum. You're going to create a minimum viable e-commerce business. Not all the bells and whistles, not a 7-page sales funnel. You don't need all of that. So if you're interested, make sure you go to simpleecommerceblueprint.com. So we talked about the what and the why. We just talked about the benefits. Now let's talk about the components that are needed to create this simple e-commerce business system. Okay. So there are 9 components that are needed to create this system. Okay. So the first thing that you need is a winning product. Everything is based around your product, the way you market, where you market, and how you market. So what product are you going to sell and where are you going to find it? All right. What are the components for a winning product? Here's some of the characteristics for a winning product. Okay. Good price point, meaning that the product is priced right. So you don't want to have a mid-tier product priced at a super high level. Okay. Once again, you don't want to do that. Everything needs to be aligned. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you can have a demonstrable product, meaning a product that you can demonstrate. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, hey, Jay, you just talked about digital products. We're not talking about an onion slicer or something that you can see, the ninja knife or something like that you can actually demonstrate. So when you speak to a digital product, when you talk about demonstrable, this all goes back to marketing. And any good marketer will tell you that you need to be inside the head of your prospective customer. And so even though you may not physically be able to show them or demonstrate, you have to take them on a journey. So if you have a weight loss workout product, right, which is a digital product. So just think about Beachbody, Insanity, Shaun T, a lot of these different Beachbody products. They're digital products, okay? So demonstrable, right? So they're showing you the workouts actually, but what they're really showing you is the transformation. So they're showing you the transformation when somebody starts, and I'll just use Insanity since I've probably done everyone out there multiple times. Just think about that. What they're showing you is, all right, this is how Jay started. And now after 8 weeks, 10 weeks, or whatever the program is, this is what happened. It's demonstrable. You don't see them with the Ginsu knife out there. It's not somebody slicing and dicing tomatoes or whatever, or throwing a tomato up and using the Ginsu and slicing it in half. It's not like the Flex Seal guy that's on with the, he puts the boat together with the plexiglass sheets, and he sprays this Flex Seal on there, and then he puts the boat in the water. It's not demonstrable like that, but it's demonstrable mentally. And now with that product, with the Insanity product, you can see the before and after. But if you can't show the before and after, you need to show that transformation. What happens when they use your product or service or your digital product? The before and the after, the transformation from A to B. So you have to make that demonstrable in the minds of your prospective customers. So even in my one of my Flatiron brands, my high-end brand, even though it's a physical product and I do have videos of people using and demonstrating the product, when I talk with my sales copy is, imagine yourself coming out of the house, going to work every morning, I'm paraphrasing, with your hair blowing in the wind, looking like you just came from the salon. Okay, so you get that salon, professional salon grade feel every day in the comfort of your own home. Okay, so I'm making people image or imagine imagery. What happens when they use the product? So what we're talking about now, the characteristics of a winning product, and these are the components needed to create a successful e-commerce business. The first one was a good price point, meaning that your price is aligned with the product. Number two, demonstrable, meaning that they can demonstrate the product. Since we're talking digital, you're not going to necessarily be able to show it, but you're going to need to be able to create the imagery and the transformation from point A to point B. All right. The third characteristic is the product solves a problem. Okay. If you don't want to be the face of your product, create or find a product that solves a problem. People don't care who you are, where you're from, what color you are, what color your shoes are. They don't care. If you solve a problem for them and it makes sense and the price is aligned, okay, you have a demonstrable product. You take them on that imaginary journey. If it's a digital product from point A to point B, and you help them solve a problem, then guess what? They don't care who you are. So say, for example, you're selling test preparation for the LSAT, okay? Or the SAT if you're in high school. They don't care who created that software. They don't care who created that course. All they care about is the result. They don't care who you are. Does it work? So we always talk about solving a problem or following your passion. To me, the best is a combination of the two. But if you had to break it down, I would say solving a problem is the easiest and most simple way to be successful in e-commerce. Hands down, no competition. Solve a problem. And here's what you do. When I talked about number one, good price points, the more important or the more difficult problem that you solve, the higher you can charge for that product or service. So let's talk about a CPA. Give you an example. Say a tax accountant. You owe Uncle Sam $45,000, right? Now, they're talking about garnishing your wages, locking up your bank accounts, selling off your property. Now, that service that he's providing, okay? Oh, look, man, I can get a deal. We can set up a payment arrangement. You won't have to pay $45,000. But guess what? It's going to cost you $7,000 for whatever for the services. $7,000 is a lot better than $45,000, right? So does it make sense? Is it priced right? Is it aligned with the service or the problem that I'm solving? So that's what you have to think about. So we're talking about components needed for the simple e-commerce blueprint system, all right? So number one was a winning product. Number two, it's a domain name. So your product sales page must sit on a domain, and preferably on one that you own, not necessarily a subdomain that you get from like ClickFunnels. So jjones1234567.clickfunnels.com. That's a subdomain. You want to own every aspect of your business. So go to GoDaddy.com, pick yourself out a domain. That's component number two. Component number three is a landing page. And the landing page is a website page that sits on the domain that you own. And in the masterclass, I break this all down. But a landing page is just literally a one-page website. Okay, and on that landing page, number four, the next thing you need is a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is a piece of quality content that you offer the prospect to get them to opt into your form and leave their name and email address so you can build your list. Now, I know I talked about not building a list, right? You don't have to build a list. But if you're already going to get traffic to your landing page or to your site, you might as well, but you don't have to do that. So we're talking about a minimum viable e-commerce business. To me, it makes sense to do it, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. The next component, which is number 5, is a sales funnel. And all a sales funnel is, it's a series of sales pages that are activated once someone requests your lead magnet, okay? So the funnel sits on your domain behind the lead magnet and takes people through a sales sequence. So just imagine, I'll give you an example of a dresser. So you have a bookshelf, let's say a bookshelf in your room, okay? That bookshelf is the domain name, okay? J. Jones Bookshelf, that's the domain name. That's where everything sits. Now on top of the bookshelf is a bin, okay? It's just a little bin. And the bin represents the landing page. The landing page is just a placeholder, okay? Now imagine inside the bin, we start to stand the books up next to each other so the spine of the books are showing, just like you go into the library and you see the spine of the book showing. So from left to right inside the bin, which is the landing page, the first book would be your lead magnet, okay? The next book, and going left to right, the next book would be the page on your sales page, the first page of your sales funnel. And the next book would be page 2 of the sales funnel. And the next book would be page 3 of the sales funnel, and so on and so forth. So once again, the bookshelf is the domain name. Everything sits on that domain. The bin on top of the shelf is actually the landing page. That's where everything starts. Inside that bin, you have your lead magnet, which is your content, that quality content that people want. And then after that, you have your sales funnel, which is just a series of pages. Okay, so that's all a sales funnel is. It's a series of pages to take you step by step closer to selling a product. Okay, so that's component number 5. Component number 6 is an email autoresponder. Now, once again, you don't have to have this when you're building a minimum viable e-commerce business. All right, but I want to let you guys know what the real components are. You can pare this down. It's just like if you go buy a car, you can buy the deluxe model or you can buy the base model. And what I'm doing right now is I'm talking about the deluxe model, but then the simple e-commerce blueprint.com, I'm going to show you the base model, the minimum viable e-commerce business model. But you need to understand all the components. So component 6, once again, is an email autoresponder. So in order to communicate with your prospects, you need to gather emails and have a way to automatically respond to them without having to send out individual emails by hand. Okay, that's number 6. Number 7 is a database. I talk about this all the time. Your email autoresponder will gather emails and keep them in a database so you can contact that database at any time. So one of the reasons why Amazon Prime Days are so popular and so successful for Amazon is because their database is hundreds of millions of people. So when Prime Day comes up and they have these sales, all they do is send out advertisements to the people in their database. Guess what? It's like turning on a faucet. And once you start building a more mature e-commerce business, you definitely want to have a database. Okay? Because you can turn that faucet on at any time also. You got 45,000, 50,000 people in your database and you're coming out with a sale for one of your products. A certain function or factor of those people in your database are going to buy that offer. So you literally can turn that faucet on anytime you want. So number 7 is your database. And these are the components needed to build a successful e-commerce business. And we're talking about the luxury edition. We're not talking about the base model. Number 8, you need a delivery mechanism. So this is how you're going to deliver your product. And we're talking about digital products. So there's several platforms available to help you deliver digital products. I use what's called Sendowl, SENDOWL.com. Now, before I forget too, guys, when you go to blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com, make sure you sign up for the newsletter. You'll see the newsletter on the bottom pretty much of every page. Now, in the newsletter, I have the show notes of every episode. So the newsletter comes out every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern and every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And what happens is those show notes, Monday's show, today's show, will be in the newsletter for Monday. So if you're traveling, walking, exercising, you're at work and you can't write things down, the show notes and links will be in the newsletter along with all types of other pertinent news and resources for Black entrepreneurs. So make sure you sign up for the BEB newsletter. Go to blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com and it's on the bottom of every page. So the delivery mechanism, I talked about Sendowl. So Sendowl will deliver all of my digital products for me. Not all of them, because on my online courses, I use Thinkific. But we're going to talk about the minimum viable e-commerce business. Okay, we're not talking about utilizing all of the tools from the software that I'm going to talk about in the masterclass. And last but not least is traffic, right? So you need to have traffic to your landing page. I don't care if you're selling on Amazon. I don't care if you're selling on your own site. I don't care where you're selling. You need to drive traffic. The best type of traffic, guys, is free traffic. And so that comes from owned media. So when you have a platform in a database and you want to send out an offer for a new product or something else, you own that database. It doesn't cost you anything to send emails or a social media post. So that's owned media. That's free. Now you also have earned media. So if somebody reposts something, somebody does an article about you in a magazine, you're on somebody else's podcast, that's earned media, meaning you earn that media. That doesn't cost you anything either. And then the last type of media or traffic you're going to get is paid media or paid traffic. So when you go to Facebook or Instagram and you're doing promotions on there, that's paid traffic. When you're running Google ads, that's paid traffic. When you're running Amazon pay-per-click, that's paid traffic. Guys, got to bear with me. I got a little cold here that I'm trying to get over and a little sore throat, but that's paid traffic. So the best traffic is free traffic. Now, remember, when you're buying the luxury vehicle, you're going to have all of these components. But if you're doing the base model, which is what I'm going to be talking about in simpleecommerceblueprint.com, you're not necessarily going to have all these components. Which one is better? Definitely the high end, the luxury model. But once again, that comes with a lot of other work and activities. So if you just want to start a basic e-commerce business and then grow from there, then that's what I'm going to show you in the masterclass. So those are the components that you need, guys, to build a successful e-commerce business. Now, let me just give you the workflow for the e-commerce blueprint workflow. So number one, you have traffic, which is owned, earned, or paid. So if you have a database, a social media following, that's free. You run your traffic to a landing page with an opt-in form. And that opt-in form is going to be a bribe for some type of quality content. Here's a PDF checklist for this. Here's a video on how to do this. Here's a tutorial for that. After that, you go to the main offer with a checkout form. After that, you have an upsell. And then after that, you have a thank you page. That's the luxury version of building an e-commerce business. Now, once again, the impetus of this show is something that my daughter and I talked about. So we're going through some different product ideas right now to be able to help get her that multiple stream of income or that additional stream of income without going hog wild into the e-commerce business itself. So I'm guiding her through that right now. In a quick second, I'm going to get to the overview of what I actually told her and how to really focus on a bare minimum e-commerce business. But let me just share my social media contact information and my resource links real quick with the BEB family. First and foremost, guys, go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Hit the home page and then hit the about page. So all my social media contact information is on the about page when it's about Jay Jones. But let's start off, though, with some of the resources. I mentioned at the top of the show my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. You can go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, go to resources or go to books, and you can purchase the book there, or you can go to anewblackwallstreet.com. $14.95 for the print version, $9.95 for the digital version. Now, if you need additional assistance building your successful, sustainable e-commerce business, my flagship program, hands down, the best on the market, Brand Builder Academy Elite, BBAelite.com, a 15-week implementation program that takes you from product ideation to selling on your own site and other applicable sites, and it's from A to Z, guys. It drips out the content. It teaches you everything you need to know about building an e-commerce brand, be it a physical products brand or a digital products brand, from product ideation, from actually creating the product, setting up your corporate entity, marketing, banking, financing, the legal aspects, IP, your intellectual property, and then being able to market that and start selling, like I said, on your platform or other applicable platforms. And it's from A to Z, hands down, pound for pound, the best e-commerce course out there, BBAelite.com. Also, I mentioned at the top of the show, don't forget BEB Academy, Elevate Your Entrepreneur IQ. You get 3 days free access to everything in the academy, BEB Academy. Also, I just mentioned component number 9, which is traffic, right? If you're in the academy, I have a Facebook Ads 3.0 course that's in the academy. So if you need to find out how to drive traffic to your landing page for your e-commerce business or any business, make sure you go into the academy, get the 3 days free access, and make sure you go to Facebook Ads 3.0. Also, I mentioned at the top of the show in terms of e-commerce, I talked about 2 platforms I created to help circulate dollars in the worldwide black economy. The first one is BeSmartByBlack.com. If you are a black product producer and you want to sell your product to black consumers worldwide, upload your products for free. It's free to upload and you can connect and sell with black consumers worldwide. I didn't forget about you freelancers. So if you do anything on Fiverr.com or Freelancer.com, go to HireBlackFreelancers.com, HIRE, BlackFreelancers.com. Once again, it is free. Upload your information and you can connect with black consumers and black businesses that want to hire black freelancers. Now, all of this, guys, is on blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Go to the website. That's why it took me so long to actually have it redone. The number one resource for black entrepreneurs. Everything I just told you is on the website. Go and play around on the website. There's also, when you log on to the site, there's going to be a question at the bottom right hand part of the website if you're on the laptop. And on the bottom, if you're on your phone, do you own a business? Yes or no? What do you need most help with right now? It'll ask you a question. You'll say something like marketing or finance. It'll take you directly to those resources. Use the BEB website, guys. That's why I work so hard to create it, so you can go there and get the resources that you need, be it a podcast, be it a masterclass, be it a PDF download. But there are resources there to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Also, real quick, in terms of connections, all of my contact information, anything long, family, hit me on my email, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Twitter, jjones001, JAYJONS001. Instagram, I got 2 IG accounts, guys. The first one is jjones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. The second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have additional content on YouTube that is not on the show. Go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and hit the subscribe button. If you're on Clubhouse, I'm at I am J Jones, at I am J Jones. LinkedIn, just go search for J Jones Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. And also make sure you subscribe to my new companion podcast, Ask J Live. Go to askjlive.com. And I'm live every Tuesday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, to answer questions about your business, my business, or entrepreneurship in general. Also, guys, I'm going to be doing, I believe in 2 weeks, my first IG Live on Wednesday. I believe it's the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have a great guest on there. So we're going to be doing the IG Lives every week also. So we got a full gamut for 2022. And we're trying to get this good word out here and help everybody elevate their entrepreneur IQ and start to build and support Black-owned businesses. All right, that's a mouthful, and I'm already sick. So let's get ready to close out this show. And I just want to talk about real quick the simple e-commerce business blueprint. And this literally is what I talked about with my daughter as she's trying to build this new e-commerce business. So she talked about, Dad, I don't have a product. No product, no problem. Problem solved. I'm going to show you where you can get products that you can call your own without creating your own products. Okay. I need a funnel, Dad. No problem. Problem solved. You can get a copy of my simple e-commerce funnel inside the program. You don't even have to think about it. Use my funnel and you'll be able to just alter it based on your product. Database, no database, problem solved. You don't need a database to start because you're solving a problem. You don't need to start building a database if you don't want to. You're solving a problem. And as I mentioned, if you can solve a problem, people don't care who you are, where you're from, or whatever, because you're solving their problem. The other thing she said, Dad, I don't feel like doing all of this branding. I said, no problem. Problem solved. You can simply and easily brand your product since you own them. Okay. So you don't have to create a persona or a brand. Okay. You can brand the product that's already been created. And once again, it's really not necessary for you to do that if you don't want to. Next, you don't have a lot of money to invest. Dad, I'm trying to save up for this. I don't have a lot of money. No problem. Problem solved. You can literally start this business for under $150, literally. And I'm going to talk about and show you the tech stack, the system, and everything in the course, simpleecommerceblueprint.com. And then she was like, Dad, how fast can I make money? I'm ready to make money right now. Problem solved. Turnkey system is waiting for you now, where you can literally start making money in 7 days. Literally. Because once again, we're paring down all of the stuff that we don't need. It's just like I said, software. Some of the software out there that I use, drop funnels, it has tons of different features. I don't use half of them on purpose because I want to keep it simple. Now, I've increased the usage of the resources that the software has, but sometimes when we go in, they throw so much at you. Yeah, it can do this, and that. And by the time you look at it, you're drooling, right? Because you're like, damn, this is too much. And that's what this simple e-commerce blueprint Masterclass does. It breaks down all of the nonsense, the stuff we don't need. You know, yeah, I like leather heated seats in my cars, right? But guess what? I can still have cloth seats in the regular model and still get to where I need to get to. And that's literally what this masterclass is about, taking the bare bones approach to building a minimum viable e-commerce business where you're not spending a lot of money, you're not spending a lot of time, but you're generating revenues to start. And then once you start generating revenues, you can decide how much you want to put into this. But literally, this is how I started. I started slow, and then I eventually built up to that. So make sure you check out simpleecommerceblueprint.com. Go ahead and check out and learn more about it. Hopefully, I'll look to see you inside the masterclass. Once again, I've been busting my hump over the last 3 weeks to get this done. And I really wanted to get something out there for people that really want to get into e-commerce, because e-commerce saved my life. It literally saved my life after I lost everything for the second time with my mortgage business. And if it wasn't for e-commerce and those experiences that I've learned through that whole thing, building my e-commerce businesses up, I wouldn't be here today. And that's nothing but truth right there, because it allowed me to scale a business. It allowed me to have freedom and flexibility. I talked about the freedom equation. Cash flow plus passive income equals freedom. And when you have that freedom, you're living a life that you probably can't even imagine. Doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it at any time. Not worrying about going into an office, not worrying about answering to anybody else. And you can set it up as you want. If you want to hire people to do things, that's great. You can be a solopreneur. You can hire VAs. You can take it and scale it as big as you want. But that's not going to happen until you have the system. And so that's what this is all about. Once again, I started thinking about it. It's so funny. After my daughter and I talked, I was texting her the whole night. I'm like, yo, this is a great problem to solve. She was bringing up some problems that she wanted to solve. Here's a product idea. You know what? I know where we can get that. We don't even have to create that, and you can call it your own. So I'll keep you guys posted as that's going on. But definitely check it out, simpleecommerceblueprint.com, if you're ready to rock and roll with a minimum viable e-commerce system that's going to start making you money immediately, because you're not doing all the other bells and whistle stuff, and you're not spending your time on actions that really a lot of times are wasted time. And we're simplifying it. We're breaking it down. It's the fundamentals, just like in boxing, right? If you don't have or any sport or anything, if you don't have the fundamentals, you're not going to be able to build on that. If I don't teach you how to throw the proper jab, I don't teach you how the footwork, I don't teach you how to parry, I don't teach you how to roll, then everything else you learn after that, you building it on sand. You're not building it on rock. So this is a foundational masterclass that's teaching you the foundational components of a successful e-commerce business without all the fluff and without all of the extra bells and whistles. In boxing, people don't realize your feet, your footwork is fundamental in you being successful. If your feet are good, that's just going to be a foundation for everything else. Your footwork, your jab, your right hand, your defense. So sometimes the things that we think are important, oh, this guy got a lot of power. Yeah, he don't know how to punch though. He doesn't know how to move. He doesn't know how to get in and out. He can't create the distance that he needs to be successful. Fundamentals. And that's what this masterclass is about, fundamentals. Now, for all first-time listeners, guys, if you didn't know, the podcast drops every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube. So make sure you tune in and subscribe. Once again, on all your major podcast platforms or whatever you like best, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple, Google, whatever, YouTube. We're there every week, 392 weeks in a row. Haven't missed a week, and God willing, we don't plan to. I say this each and every week, family. We get more and more downloads because of you, the BEB family. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast, about the blog, about the new super website, and also about the ecosystem. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black community. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us working together by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.